Okay, so we want to play this like Quennel, right? And it's always best to start from the simple. It's always best to know what we're doing. Start from the simple. So what I want to do is kind of show you these chords. I'm gonna show you 3 alterations that you can use. So basically, when he goes, so the first chord that you're going to use is a D sus2 on the very beginning. This is actually replacing the traditional D flat major chord that you would play. But instead what he's doing is he has that E flat in there. So it's like this, but you got the E flat on top. Now, this is the voicing, and you should always be able to play your voicings in 3 notes. And I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. So and then what happens is he moves this D flat down. Okay, so basically we go from a D flat sus. Then this is all in one hand that I'm doing in the left hand here, and then I'm moving this D flat down. All right, and then the next chord is going to be a B flat minor chord. Okay, let's see how that sounds. Okay, and then next we move that. We go from here and then we move this D flat to a C. Now, those are the first 4 chords. There's an extra added note that he plays in this one, which is the B flat. So now I'm going to play those same 4 series of chords, but I'm going to add the additional note. For those of you who are able to add that note in, it's a pretty wide stretch of notes that you have to do with your left hand, but basically what we have is a D6-9. And what we have is a D6-9, and what a D6-9 means is that you would play a D flat major scale, you add the 6th note, which is the B flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you would add the 9th note, 7, 8, 9. So the B flat and the E flat are added to the D flat chord, except we don't have the F in there. But in actuality, this is the chord that we were using before, which is the D sus2, and you can just add the B flat to that. The next chord we're going to do is simply going to just move. We're going to move this one down, and again these stay the same. Okay, so here we go. Oops, I didn't add that B flat. Now, so really, it's a really nice touch to play it this way. You know, the only drawback is that your left hand has a wide spread of notes, because see, my left hand is doing this since my right hand has to play that melody. Okay. Now in the next chord, we were supposed to play a B flat minor chord, right? That's the basis of the chord. But what do we want to add to that? Well, it's really interesting that you say that, because the chart that I created, and right now it's on the membership site, but I'm really going to try to see if we can make that available for everybody here. And I want to show you how you can use that chart to help you. All right, so this is the chart that I prepared for the those in my membership site, and we have it, and this right now it's in the key G flat, right? And it just shows you the basic chords that you're going to need to know to play any song in G flat, but it also shows you, preacher chords and improv stuff you can do on each one. All right, and then of course we have an intermediate one, which shows some progressions, and we have the advanced, which shows you all kind of neat kind of stuff here, substitutions and everything. But on this chart here, we're looking at that 3rd chord. Now the 3rd chord that up. Now the third chord's a B flat. We have this chord, and we're trying to see what can we do to this chord to add some flavor to it. But it says here that the seventh chords add flavor, right? And one way that I'm going to use this chart is, and this is just the way that I'm going to get to what he's doing. So just kind of stay with me here. So basically, we have this. We have a B flat, D, and an F. So one way to add flavor would be to add the A flat. You don't necessarily have to add the A flat on the top. You can add it on the bottom. All right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at this differently. I'm going to use this one right here. Here's a B flat, D, F here. See, those are the notes here. But I'm going to add the G flat in there. I'm going to use that to add flavor, and that's exactly what he does. Because if you listen, okay, let me so you hear that did you hear those notes there? So right, but what I think would be a good idea would be to use what we had in that chart, okay, and add that G flat in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take, we already said that we're voicing the B flat minor chord in what I called a spread triad, which means that instead of doing it open like this, you want to take that B flat and move it down. The F is there and the D flat is there. So it's the same as taking that, moving this D flat up one, right? But then the seventh chords add flavor. So we want to add that flavor, that G flat, and we want to put it right here. I want you to show you how that sounds, because this essentially is no longer by putting that in there, it becomes a G flat chord instead of a B flat chord. But in reality, you want a B flat minor sound. See how that sounds? So it's knowing when to use that and knowing why it works is important. Whereas before we were going, right? See the difference? And so, and then the next chord he does after that. And what he's doing here is he's doing a B flat major 7 chord. So on the left hand, let's do the 3 chords first. The 3-note chord. Right, so that's kind of the structure of it. And then if you're using 4-note chords, let me go ahead and play the melody while I'm doing this. You got to play it with me in order to get this now. Right, now, all right, so to play this rootless would be a great way to do this without having to worry about stretching your hand so far. So basically, instead of playing it like this, you know, you just kind of leave that D off. Just leave the D off, you know, or bring it up top. And now it sounds, the quality to me, it sounds like a way too sus, like a sus sound, and it's lacking foundation. So maybe I can take this B out and B flat and move it to here. See? See how that still sounds decent? So what did I do? So you see that's the chord there. And then you simply move from there to moving this D flat here and moving that F to an E flat. And this is just kind of keeping into his style. And then say we do a let's just use a G flat major, because that was, remember, I'm still trying to keep into, you know, closely to the chords that we were using. So we can kind of, now using this lacks the dissonance. It lacks the dissonance because we're just playing it as a G flat major 7. If you want the dissonance, you got to take this F, you got to move it down to below here. So you could do it that way if you want that dissonance, but you don't have to. You know, whichever one sounds better. So right, what's going on there? Because I already said that I was trying to use that B flat major 7. So I already know that I'm trying to use that an F major voicing on the A flat. Okay, and I kind of added the F sharp for some tension. Right now, okay, now I should be able to. One of the things I mentioned at the beginning is when you are trying to play something, don't go for the fancy chords first. You should always be able to play things with triads only. Okay, let me just change the song to F and play with only 3 notes in my left hand, 1 note in my right, right? So you should always be able to play with just 3 notes, with just 3, because if you can't play it basic, you can't play it more advanced. So let's say I were to just play in the key of F. See, I'm just kind of walking it down, but you see notice how simple that is? Simply because I'm understanding the structure of the chords and just moving down in simple triads. So before I'm doing, you know, a lot of crazier chords, I'm understanding just how basic triads work. There's one other thing I want to mention to you is that this one final chord I wanted to show you. That's the B flat major. Okay, so that part, so I want to show you that. So basically what he's doing there is, the notes would be, so that's an A flat minor 7, okay? It's flat 5, flat 9, flat 13. It's got a lot of upper extensions. And a lot of y'all like those little fancy uppers, but see, if you notice, I went real simple today because I need you to understand the simplicity before you understand the complex. Because if you can't play it simple, then you have no business playing it complex, because you understand that there are multiple variations of the simple. So if you play the simple, then you actually are doing yourself a more of a favor than if you try to just play only the complex stuff. I understand that this is just basically a minor 7 flat 5 chord, right? But let me show you how he extends this, right? Now, you may be able to play it easier by avoiding that E, or so I'm kind of doing a B, D, F sharp, G sharp. It's kind of how I'm looking at it. I added the E because of the extra to be on beat, but. Okay, so that's the chord he's using there. He's holding an A flat minor in the left hand on that part. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed today's 3 tips on how to use some of Quennel's voicings. And for today, if you look in the link and if you look on the screen, you will see a 50% off coupon just to thank you for subscribing to my channel, and thank you for your support. And again, we will see you next week.